Hey, what's going on, guys? This is your boy C Will back to you with another video, and I'm excited today. Why? Because we got this. Boom. You see it. I know you see it. Yes, this is the Sabrent Rocket 4 Plus. 2 terabyte. Yeah. You good people at Sabrent. Shout out to my boy William, but my good people at Sabrent hooked the brother up. With this, we just did a review on the actual PS5 Heatsink from Sabrent, so definitely make sure that you check that out. But they also sent me over the actual 2 terabyte, one of their 2 terabyte Rocket 4 Plus. This is the Gen 4 drive, and yeah, we're going to test this out in the PS5. We're going to install it, and we're going to match these two up together to see how they work out. So we're not going to do any temperature testing today, but obviously the great thing about Sabrent's Heatsink is that it's a heatsink and cover all in one. So as you're going to see in the actual install and setup and all that good stuff today, that this definitely makes the actual process a lot easier because, for first time, this is already hard enough. You got to open up the PS5. And so we're going to do everything step by step today. Just in case if you got some people that hasn't seen my other videos, we'll go ahead and follow everything in this one. And it should be a quick and easy process. And then we'll get into some game testing, loading, transferring data, all that different type of stuff. So, hey, let's get to it. If this is your first time here, welcome. Here we do everything tech, all things tech, whatever it is, we like to do it. And man, if you're a returning viewer, I really appreciate you the most because you keep everything going. So if you want to definitely continue to see content like this, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you receive all my notifications and so that you don't miss anything. And also, if you definitely want to make sure that you support the channel, you could definitely do that by hitting some of the Amazon links in the description below. That always helps out. No additional cost to you, but it does help the channel. Also, hey, if you want to help me out via Patreon or via PayPal and all that good stuff, all those links are down in the description below. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so we got knife on deck. Knife on deck. Boom. So, man, this has been sitting on my desk all week. I have been waiting to open this, get this installed, but your boy gets busy sometimes. A lot of times I stay busy, right? But when it's time to play, it's time to play. And so, man, if we take a look here, look at that nice black box, giggity. So if we go here, we open this up. Okay, Sabrent, I see what you're doing here with the packaging and the presentation. All right, so this opens up like that. Now, what do we have in the box? We have a booklet. This is a sticker. Now, if you see, look at that. It's freaking amazing. You see that? Look at that. So as we take this out, now right off the back, I do notice, as you can see here, this is double-sided. So I do know, I read that this is actual, it's like a copper label that you see here that's definitely used for heat spreading. And looking at this, it looks like this is actually double-sided. So it has chips on both sides. It sure does. So this is double-sided. So it's like that means that there's a lot going on this chip. Controllers, DRAM caches. Speaking of all that different types of stuff, some of the specs, as far as speed, specs, this actually gets up to 7,100 megabytes per second for the read speed, and it's actually 6,600 megabytes per second on the write speed. So this is actually faster than a lot of the other Gen 4 drives out there. We should name no names, Samsung. And man, this is nice. So again, this is double-sided. What else do we have in the box? Anything else? Nothing else? Nothing else. All right. So we're going to sit that back in there for one hot second. So this right here, this is actually already inside of the PlayStation 5. But I will tell you, and we're going to open up the PS5 in a second. I will tell you that I still have my plate. So just in case if anything happens, I took that off of the PlayStation 5. And the Sabrent, this actually comes with the screwdrivers as well for the screws, but we're going to take care of that stuff. So the presentation skills from Sabrent is pretty good. Now, even though they sent this drive over to me, they did not ask to see this video before I posted it, just like They didn't ask that for the actual heatsink. They just wanted me to take a look at it, review it, see if I like it, you know, and do a honest review, which is what we do here. And so we're going to check this out. We're going to, you know, test this thing out, like I said, with transferring games, with load times, just to see, you know, what that's like. And then we can actually compare that against some of the other video data that we have. So this is going to be hot. So let me put this to the side real quick. We'll get the PlayStation 5. So we got the PS5 right here. We're going to go ahead and lay this on this side. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, you're going to need a flathead screwdriver, because on the bottom of the PS5, there's a screw to take the actual stand off. And if you're looking right there, there's a screw to take the stand off. And so what you have to do is we have to take the stand off first, if you have the stand on. So if you lift this up, makes it easier to unscrew if you lift it. That doesn't put pressure on it. Once you do that, take that off, put the screw to the side. There's always controversy about how to take these panels off, but it's actually very, very easy to take the panels off. So let me show you. If you have the actual PS5 with the disc, you want to make sure that this is away from you. So you want to make sure it's on the top and it's away from you. Now, if you have the digital version of the PS5, what you want to do is make sure that the PlayStation symbol right here is towards you, but flipped over on the side. So it needs to be towards you, like me, towards me. It needs to be towards you, flipped on the side. But what you do is you take one of the ends here, take your other hand, you lift up, and you push. And it pops off. There it is. And as you can see here, this Sabrent heatsink and cover plate looks a whole lot better than what actually comes with the PS5, which I just showed you. So here's the plate that was originally there, as you can see that, and obviously black and everything. It just looks better. So my opinion only. But Sabrent did a really, really good job with doing it. So what we need to do is actually take this screw off here. It has the actual PlayStation symbols on it, which is the, you know, the X, the square, the triangle, and circle. All right, so once you take this out, put that to the side where you can be able to find it. This will lift up, and as you can see, there's nothing in here because I took my 980 Pro out already. And speaking of, this is just a disclaimer real quick. So with the Samsung 980 Pro, it's making it real hard for me to recommend this drive, because as of recently, I had somebody in one of my comments to tell me that, hey, Samsung just came out with another firmware update and you should test it out. I was like, really? It's like, because I've done this before. They came out with a previous firmware update, didn't change anything as far as the read speeds when, you know, when you initially put in the actual drive, and then formats it, you know, with the PS5 and then test out the read speed. And all the other drives, Gen 4 drives, were getting over, you know, 6,000. But for some particular reason, it was like on the 980 Pro, I got the 2 terabyte, it was getting like 5,700. And I was like, man, that's kind of weird. A little bit low. But then it's like, oh, well, you know, the drive worked wonderfully. If you watch the videos and stuff like that, drive worked great. And sometimes even beat out the speeds of the internal SSD. But then, you know, I kept hearing rumblings about it. And so I was like, I didn't worry about it. The drive worked great. Well, recently, I just updated the firmware on that 980 Pro. And lo and behold, now when you format the drive, it gets up to 6,500. So the problem, it's a double-edged sword. The good thing that I have with that is that, okay, now the read speed is actually showing correct, but it needed a firmware update for it. Well, here's the problem. If you don't have a PC, because you have to have a PC to update the firmware on the 980 Pro, but if you don't have a PC, that's a lot of extra work that is, you know, this is a gaming system. So that's a lot of extra work that a normal person who maybe doesn't have this type of hardware or technology, stuff like that, how are they going to update their firmware? So I got an issue with that. And so, yeah, but that's neither here nor there right now. We'll talk about it later. But we got the Sabrent, and see, here's the all-in-one option. Here's what I love about it. So all-in-one, as you can see, the top part, this is the cover. So when this is in here and the fan is pulling in air, it's pulling the actual heat from the actual SSD, pulling it through the back and coming out the back of the system. So this is great. And it's also keeping, because this actually sits on top of the drive itself with the thermal pad. And so this is what helps dissipates the actual heat and stuff, is where it keeps the drive cool. So it's all in one solution. So when you take this off and you actually put the drive in like we're about to get ready to do, that's it. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to try to, put this drive, inside of another heatsink like we did on my first video. So if you see my first video, this is actually a heatsink. It's a double-sided heatsink, but you have to take the screws off, put the extra drive in, and then sit this in. But the downside about this, if you saw the video too, and I'll put the link in the description and put a card up or something like that, the temperatures get higher with this than they do with the actual Sabrent covering heatsink. And the reason being is because this is not designed to actually sit in here as far as like cooling and stuff like that. This is designed to go on the motherboard inside of a PC. So anyways, if we take this, the way that we install this is a actual 2280 drive. So 22 is the actual width and 80 is the length. So if you take a look here, this will actually give you numbers. And so the 22 is the width, right? But the 80 is the length. And there are different type of NVMe drives out there. You have some, so as far as measurements and length, you have 30, 40, 2, 60, 80, and then 110. Most new drives like this are 80 millimeters is what that's measured in. So what we need to do is actually take this screw out because it's inside the washer. I left the screw in here so I didn't lose it because yeah, it's small. But this little silver piece right here is the washer. You want to make sure that you actually leave that in. When you leave the actual washer in, let me show you what's going to happen. You're going to take the drive. You are going to, at an angle, kind of slide this in and push it. It'll snap in. And what's going to happen, this sits on top of the washer. And we're going to put that through. And this is actually going to keep the drive held down. And the washer is important, and don't over tighten it. The washer is important because you don't want this to bend. And so this washer sits on top to make sure it stays level and straight. And then what we're going to do, because this is a cover and heatsink, it's all in one. All we have to do, you see the thermal pad right here. This is going to sit on top of the drive. So only thing that we have to do is actually sit this on top and screw it down. Plug this in, and it seems like it's going to do a little give, but that's fine. It's okay. Everything is fine. But you're going to take this screw that has the PlayStation symbols on it, and all you're going to do is actually just screw that down. That's it. You're done. There's nothing else to do here. And I absolutely love that. So from here, all we're going to do is actually put the cover back on the PS5. And so the way that you do this, you kind of position this where it wiggles a little bit, and then you just do it like a slight bump. And then boom, the cover is back on and you're good. So let's plug this bad boy up, get it running. We're going to format the drive, see what type of speeds we get. And then we're going to play a couple of games. We're going to transfer some games and all that good stuff. Let's get to it. Okay, so we got the actual PlayStation 5 up and running. And as you can see on the screen, it says, hey, M.2 SSD storage. To use your M.2 SSD, you need to reformat it. When you format your M.2 SSD, all data on it will be deleted. If you want to continue using your PS5 without formatting your M.2 SSD, turn off your PS5 and then remove your M.2 SSD. Note that saved data, screenshots, and video clips can't be saved in the M.2 SSD storage. Okay, cool. All right, so and yeah, this is going to be formatted, and we didn't use this for anything else, so it doesn't matter. So it's nothing on it. All right, so format M.2 SSD. Yes. It's formatting. It's formatting. All right. So it says, if you experience problems while playing a game installed in M.2 SSD storage, try installing it in console storage. Now, here's the thing. This is the same thing that we ran into with the PlayStation 5. I mean, with the Samsung 980 Pro. The initial read speed was 55. Okay. So in here, it says 55, 35, 579 megabytes per second. And so even though that this meets the minimum requirements for Gen 4 8.2, and again, I don't think this will cause issues with the actual drive or the read speed, stuff like that. The problem that I have is optics, visually looking at this, knowing the other drives on the read speed for the PS5 gets higher, even with the firmware update, for the 980 Pro. Initially it was getting speeds like this, but now with the firmware update, I can get 6,500 on the read speed. But again, this neither here nor there when it comes to real world performance. But the issue that I have is that we don't really know. What if games come out in the future and it requires it doesn't require more, but the faster the drive, if this is anything in terms of what could potentially be a real world performance type thing, then so which means that more than likely there's a firmware update for this, probably, because I've seen people get higher read speeds on this drive. So we'll take that with a grain of salt for right now and come back. But I'm very shocked about this, actually. It actually makes me want to, I'm just going to move forward. And once we get in here, there's a way to actually retest this again. Okay, let's see if we could be able to go up here. We could go to settings. We could go to storage and M.2 storage. As you can see, Sabrent Rocket 4 Plus 2 terabyte. But I can actually go down here and hit reformat. So I'm just going to test this out again just to see if it was a fluke. Restart, reformat. So if you ever need to reformat your drive, that's how you go in here and do it. Okay, so we're back to the screen here. So, all right. It's format. It's formatting. It's formatting. More than likely, I'm probably going to get the same speed. Could be higher. Oh, it's higher. There it is. Sabrent, you saved yourself, because boy, I was about to go in. Let me tell you something. I was about to. Some just told me, hey, just try it again. Just try it again. See, Will, just try it again. I was about to go in. I'm telling you what, because the gripe that I had with the 980 Pro, I ran multiple tests and it could not hit that until I did the firmware update. So glad that we have brand new PlayStation 5 owners that doesn't have to go in here and, they were doing this for the first time. Then they realized, oh, in order for me to get the actual read speed, because everything is by optics, visual. No matter how many times you tell somebody, hey, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. In their mind, it's not all right. They're like, man, the drive said it's supposed to hit this, and I'm not getting that. Even though this one says 7,100. And let's just take a look at this real quick. So, you could pick this drive up from Amazon, any other whatever retailers that sell it, but Amazon. And the reason why Amazon is because, if you plan on getting one of these, I need you to hit the link in the description below. Help a brother out. Help the channel out. But if you do decide to pick up one of these, all seriousness, if you decide to pick up one of these, Amazon has a good deal going on right now. It's $309.99. And that's for the 2 terabyte. 500 gigabytes, which I do not recommend, is $8 or $9. 1 terabyte, which some people, that's all that you may need, is $159.99. And then the 4 terabyte, we're just not gonna talk about that. If you decide that you want to get the actual, they have a combo that you could get, which is the heatsink and the actual drive together. It's $329.99 for the 2 terabyte. 1 terabyte is $179.99 to be able to get both. And so just keep that in mind as we continue to go through this and go through the actual testing and everything. If you want to check that out, the links will be in the description below. But the reason why I brought that up, because if you decided, let's say that you already bought a Samsung 980 Pro. Well, the 2 terabyte by itself is $329.99, $330. If we go back here, the combo, so you get the heatsink cover and the actual drive, 2 terabyte, $329.99, same price. So leave that up to you. The Western Digital 2 terabyte SN 850 is $319.99, and that's just the drive by itself, no heatsink or anything. So just to keep that in perspective. But yeah, if you want to be able to check these out, definitely hit the links in the description below. Now, back to our scheduled program. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at, we're going to look at a couple of things. So first thing that we're going to do, so that's 6,400. So I feel good about that. All right. I actually feel really good about that. So the first thing that we're going to do while this boots up is that we actually are going to take a look at moving. So right now, all my main games that I play the most are all on the internal storage. So let me show you. So if I go here, I go to storage. But if you see this, like right now, all the games that I have loaded, I put like the main games that I play on the actual internal drive, because we're going to test out moving some of this stuff. So like the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to move 3 games, and I'll tell you which ones, because it's going to be the same 3 games that I actually used and the first time I did this with the 980 Pro. So the 3 games are going to be Ratchet and Clank, Returnal, and Miles Morales, Spider-Man. And the reason why I wanted to do those, because total is 128 gigabytes. So we're going to move that from the internal drive to the actual M.2, the Sabrent M.2. So we're going to test out, see how long that took, and I'll let you know how long that took on a 980 Pro. So we'll look at that in a second. And then we're not going to test moving it back to the actual internal drive, because it just takes a long time. I think the PlayStation 5 does like some internal checks and balances with doing that type of stuff. Really doesn't matter. All right, so the 3 games that we talked about moving was Ratchet and Clank, and we're going to select items to move, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and Returnal. So total 131 gigabytes, right? Go. So let's see how long it takes. And we're going to do this in real time, because it's not going to take long. And I'll just continue to talk, while we're looking at this. But yeah, 3 games, 128 gigabytes. That's a lot, That's 3 games. So if you're in one of those situations where your internet speed is, it's not a lot, I would tell you, if you're watching this and you're thinking about upgrading your storage, you need to upgrade your storage. Because again, the internal storage on the PS5, like it's like 600 and something gigabytes usable. It's a 825 gigabyte drive, but 667 or something like that usable. And by the time you install like Call of Duty, which is like 100 and something gigabytes by itself, and then a few other games, your internal storage is gone. So 2 terabytes is a sweet spot. 1 terabyte is fine, but eventually I'm going to tell you, even with 1 terabyte, you're going to find yourself having to probably delete games and stuff like that eventually. And so just keep that in mind. But when it comes down to like 2 terabyte, man, that's a lot. That's a lot of storage. Plus, you still have the storage on your internal storage. So it's like 2.6 terabytes. So yeah. All right, so right now we are at 1 minute and 29 seconds. And so I'm going to keep my finger here on the stop sign. So as soon as that is done, I can hit stop and we'll get the accurate number. One minute and 48 seconds. Ha! So just to let you know, I actually saved the time frame. So just so you know, I'm not cheating, because I know how y'all are. Now, if you flip that around, you know that says 1 minute and 48 seconds. Okay, so just so you know that I'm not cheating, I am going to go to my notes when I did this with the 980 Pro, and I moved the same games. It was 1 minute and 45 seconds. Now, granted, when I did this at the time, though, it was 128 gigabytes, not 131. So technically, it's about the same speed. So, and the reason why that's good is because this drive is quoted to have pretty much the same speeds. It's actually faster. As far as on paper, it's faster than the actual 980 Pro. At least I know on the write speeds it is. Well, it's on the read speeds as well. This is 7100 instead of 7000, so on and so forth. So just keep that in mind. So if you was ever thinking about, okay, which drive should I get? You know, is it going to be fast enough? From the looks of it, just with transferring the actual 3 games from that standpoint, yeah, it is. It's about the same speed. So we good on that front. Let's move on to the next. Let's take a look at actually playing some of these games. First one up is going to be Ratchet and Clank. Okay, so we are at the start screen. So I'm going to hit that. This loads up. I still haven't beat this game yet. I know it's a travesty. I know. Performance RT. And let's hit resume. So if you don't know, Ratchet and Clank uses the actual, the speed of the M.2 storage on the PS5 internal versus, the M.2, the expandable slot. It's fast. You see how fast we actually got to the actual save spot, which is crazy. Oh, you're not. I actually hate that I'm on this stage. I forgot I was actually right here. I forgot what I am supposed to be doing. Some of these puzzles I very much dislike. I'm just gonna let you know, like, all this doesn't make sense to me. But you got to do what you got to do, right? I think I needed to. If I do this, this allows us to travel up here, and then we get that. All right, so now I think what I'm supposed to do. But anyways, you get the drift. So this actually works pretty good. Next game we got up on the list is Miles Morales. All right, so we got Miles. We just hit X. I never did beat this game either. I don't have a whole lot of time to play games. So when I do, man, it's so spread out across everywhere. I got so many games that it's just a pile of shame. And let's just continue where we left off from wherever I'm at. I'm not sure exactly where that's at, but we are about to find out. Right, continue. And that loaded really quick. Look at that suit. Boy, that suit's so fresh. That loaded very fast. Man, as much as I am a PS5 fan, I really, really, really need for PC to get load times like this. Microsoft, I don't know what y'all waiting on with this direct storage, but I mean, come on, man. Intel and AMD is on board. Everybody got Gen 4 stuff, speeds and boards and stuff now. Everybody got the drives. Let's get to it. Let's hop to it. Do what you got to do. But Microsoft Direct Storage is what's supposed to unlock the speeds like this. So we'll see, You are. Yes, sir. You are. Yes, sir. You better what? What? Mm. Yeesh. And that's Spider-Man for you. I'm gonna finish this game one day. I'm telling you, I really am. I am gonna finish it. And where you see him on the rail? I know you see it. Ooh. Oh, you better get to it. Know what's wrong with y'all? Yes. All right, so that's enough for the actual testing. All right, last game that we got up on the list is Returnal, and there has been like a lot of updates to Returnal. It's like now you could. I'm not even going to get into that because that's a whole nother different video. But absolutely love this game. I haven't beat this game either. It's a roguelike game, and man, yeah, it gets difficult. Okay, but we're gonna test out just to see how fast we load in. All three of these games are playing off of the M.2 drive, and so far so good. Can't wait to put the rest of my games on this drive, and we're gonna do some more testing in a different video. If you really like this video and this give you any type of value, make sure that you hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you receive all my notifications. But even more, if we get a certain number of likes on this video, I definitely do a comparison video with the 980 Pro. So if you want to see that, hey, show me some love on this video, and I'll do a comparison video with the 980 Pro head to head. I did another video with the 980 Pro against the internal drive, and y'all like that pretty well. So just let me know if you want to see the Sabrent drive go head to head with the actual 980 Pro. Turn this up a little bit. I turned the volume down on the game because of the, like, I don't know what it is with Sony and the Spider-Man games, but it's like, wow, they got issues. We're not gonna talk about it. But speaking of this is another game that loaded very fast. I'm just talking, and we were actually there before we even knew it, and which is crazy. But as you can see, if you played these games before, they work just as fast, if not faster. Goodness, I'm about to die. But yeah, they work just as fast, if not faster. On the M.2 drive, and it was the same thing, you know, for the 980 Pro. But this is definitely going to be my new gaming drive. So, like I said, until you actually test these type of things, you don't know whether or not it's going to be beneficial for you, which is the reason, that's what we're here for, to test stuff for you. So you don't have to actually make the purchase yourself and then find out, oh, this is not what I was looking for, right? And so, you know, when we could be able to test things for you, that works out. And so, but I can tell you, yes, I would spend my money on this drive. I see no problems with it. It seems like it's working great. I could do a follow-up video at a later date. You know, the longer you use drives and stuff like that, sometimes they work a little bit differently. I did not experience that with the 980 Pro. Don't think I would experience it with this one. But, you know, we could definitely be able to check this out at a later date, the more that I play with it, and load more games and all that stuff, you know, on it. And so, you know, we'll check that out. So again, if this video brought any value to you, definitely don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you receive all my notifications, and definitely make sure that you help YouTube know that you actually like me. All that algorithm type stuff. But yeah, this is the Sabrent Rocket 4 Plus. I like it. You know, I like it. Again, we're going to do some long-term testing with this. And if you really like this video, I could do a comparison between these two behemoths to see, you know, the actual difference in the actual speeds and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to be able to check that out. And so, yeah, let me know. And man, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.